Hello friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, this would be nothing. I mean, seriously, it would literally be nothing. And I appreciate all the interaction we have. I don't always agree with your comments, and you don't always agree with me, but we can always have discussions about it. Now, here we are at day 7 of the Tony Romo saga, and Tony Romo is still a Dallas Cowboy, and nobody is talking about it. Now, today was kind of an interesting day because a lot of stuff happened just like that. Um, I normally would do a video on my way to work, but now that we got the stinking daylight savings time that's messing up my sleep pattern, it's pitch black as I go to work. So I'm driving to work, I've got the camera, but it's like literally pitch black. You can't see anything. Actually, on second thought, that might not be a bad idea because then you don't have to look at my old, ugly face. So we'll think about that one. So anyway, I did a video, I guess about 10 o'clock or so, and I said things were a little bit quiet, here in day number 7 with the whole Tony Romo situation. We're not hearing anything from the Cowboys. We're not hearing anything from Tony Romo. We're not hearing anything from the Texans or Denver. And I said, expect to hear some things that'll be going on. And before that video even finished uploading, because I'm loading it mobile and stuff on my break, I hear that Lance Dunbar signs with the Rams. Now, I kind of liked Lance Dunbar, but his problem was he couldn't stay healthy. When he's healthy, he was a great back out of the backfield. And as I was doing that video, and you guys can go back and check and see if I was right or not, or if I'm lying to you guys, I said, with him being gone, look for them to re-sign Darren McFadden as the change-up back. And lo and behold, an hour later, here it is, they signed him. Now, when you look at Darren McFadden, this was the best place for him to go. And the reason being is because he doesn't have to be the guy. He can be the change-up back, which will prolong his career, being behind that offensive line. You let Zeke go out there, do all the hard pounding. You come in there third down, you're the back out of the backfield, catching passes. You're doing draws and sweeps outside. You're going to end up taking less wear and tear and being able to hold up longer, Let him take all the stuff. He's young. He can take those hits. He's the stud. And when you look at his career, because a lot of guys are like, oh, man, I can't believe they brought him back. He didn't do anything last year. Well, he didn't do anything last year because he broke his elbow trying to get a cell phone. At least that's the story we heard. So he's well rested, and he's a good back. Now, when you look at his career, when he was in Oakland, the last 3 years, he only averaged 3.1 yards. And I won't put that all on Darren McFadden. He had a terrible line, and he was on a terrible team. And part of the reasons why I think he stayed injured was because the offensive line was so bad. See, here's the thing. I have this theory. The Great Wall of Dallas equals +1. And what that means is when any back goes behind that Dallas Cowboys offensive line, their average will go up by at least a yard. Because what happens is you're not getting hit in the backfield. You're not having to make a move. As soon as you get the ball, there's a guy right there, and you're turning and trying to get away, and all of a sudden, here's another 300-pound guy, and you got a couple of these 300-pound guys falling on you in the backfield when you're trying to make a move. So you're in awkward positions, and you're more likely to get hurt. You come to Dallas, you're not getting contact until after you're past the line of scrimmage. And what that means is you're at a full head of steam. You're leaning forward, and you're taking glancing blows more than likely from a linebacker or a cornerback or a safety, smaller guys, and you're not in the big pileups like you are behind the line of scrimmage, which is the reason why in 2015 he ended up having a great season, 4th in the league in rushing. So to me, this was a good move to bring him back. And it's also, I think, the Dallas Cowboys philosophy right now is to keep the offense together, keep it Dak Prescott friendly. In the same way they made it Tony Romo friendly. You have a good offensive line. We're going to need either Collins is going to have to move out to tackle and hope one of the other guys can end up being the guard, or you're going to have to find a tackle or vice versa. But basically, you need one more offensive lineman. You've got Dez, and you look for Dez and Dak to work together this offseason and get together a lot better like they did towards the end of the season. Terrence Williams is a good wide receiver. Has he had some brain farts? Yes. Has he had a few drops? Yes. But in his career, he's had 20 touchdowns and averages over 13 yards a catch. He is a serviceable wide receiver. And to get somebody better, you would have to spend a whole lot more money. But here's the other thing that I look at: continuity. You're better with the devil you know than with somebody you don't know. Somebody that has to come in, learn the system, learn Dak's tendencies and things like that, and get on that page. And that takes time. Because what the Dallas Cowboys are going to need to do clearly next year is have a fantastic offense, because we have a lot of holes in the defense. And I think the Cowboys recognize that the offense is going to be the strength, and we need to keep that together. And they're also looking at the draft. And the draft has a lot of cornerbacks and a lot of defensive linemen. So I think the theory will be is, okay, we take care of the offense. Clearly we're going to need some D-backs because we're losing everybody as far as D-backs go. And we definitely need a good pass rusher. But we can go for either one, whichever is the best player that's there, or possibly move back and try and create it into two players. And I have always been one who has been more for more picks. When we moved up to take Morris Claiborne, who is finally gone, Morris has left the building, it drove me crazy. Because the problem with moving up is you're not only risking one pick, you're risking now 2 or 3 or however many picks you give up. If you don't hit on that, it sets your team back. And with Morris Claiborne, that's what it really did. We gave up a number 1 and a second. That second should have been a productive player on your team, a starter. So instead of getting the guy, you'd missed on him, and now you missed on the second. You see my philosophy here? Because when you look back when we drafted Travis Frederick, we moved back to get him. We traded with the 49ers, moved back, took him, and then with the 3rd round pick we picked up, we got Terrence Williams. At the time, the experts were pretty much laughing at the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God, what is Jerry Jones thinking? Why would you take a center with a 1st round draft pick, a guy you could have gotten in later in the draft? Well, he's been all-pro every year he's been here. Terrence Williams has almost 3,000 yards receptions, 20 touchdowns. I'd say they did pretty good on that. Now, here's what's interesting, because people will listen to the experts, and right now you're hearing about this team is going to be fantastic. They get an A+ for free agency. They're going to be a monster in the team, in the league. Yeah, well, a lot of you were worried about the Giants because of getting Brandon Marshall. But hey, their offensive line stinks. They don't have a running back. So here's the thing. They don't get an offensive line. I don't care what receivers they have out there, because the turnover machine, Eli Manning's not going to get them the ball. So be careful when you fall into the trap of the talking heads. And I'm going to give you an example, because this was a draft that we had a few years back. And I'm going to give you the grades that they gave us on this draft. And you tell me if they were right. Let me scroll down here. Okay, Dallas Cowboys 2012 draft report card. Yeah. 1st round pick, Morris Claiborne, cornerback. The Cowboys gave up their 2nd round pick to get Claiborne, who is without a question the best cornerback in the draft. Great cover guy, great move by Jerry Jones. Grade, A+. Yeah. So we gave up that 2nd round pick to move up, so we didn't have a 2nd round. 3rd round pick, Tyrone Crawford, defensive end. Crawford has a chance to be a solid starter in the 3-4 as a 3-4 defensive end. Pass defense was an issue with the Cowboys, and Crawford can get to the quarterback. Grade, B+. Well, he hasn't been bad. His problem is he's been having shoulder problems throughout the league. Had a really good, first year and got a nice contract and stuff, but the jury's out. He may actually be a June 1st cut this year. Round 4 pick, Kyle Wilbur, outside linebacker. You can never have enough pass rushers, and that is Wilbur's specialty. Will be a good backup to DeMarcus Ware in the short term, but be ready to be a starter in 2 or 3 years. Grade, A-. Yeah. 4th round pick, Matt Johnson, safety. Cowboys waited a little later than they would have liked to have grabbed a safety, but still got a potential starter in the 4th round. Grade, B+. Okay. 5th round, Danny Cole, wide receiver. Cole has a Wes Welker-like attributes. Wes Welker. Which could be an incredible weapon in the slot for Tony Romo. Grade A. Wes Welker. Yeah. 6th round. James Hanna, tight end. Jason Witten and John Phillips allowed this luxury pick. Hanna is a freakish athlete with a tight end body side. Grade A. Overall grade on that draft? A. So, yeah. And added to that, let me go back up here. Let's see. Where was it? The Dallas Cowboys are very active in free agency this year, signing several players that will go a long way to fixing their major issues from last season. Brandon Carr, Brady Poole, and Dan Connor will help the Cowboys' issues on defense, but they could still add a safety earlier. So, here's the thing. They thought that draft, getting Morris Claiborne, signing the big-name free agent in Brandon Carr, as well as Brady Poyle, was going to take him over the top. That was going to fix the defense. They got an A for the draft. Yeah. Ended up 8-8, as Stephen A. says to say, 8-8. So be careful of thinking that all these moves right now and all the analysis that you hear, that it's going to be hunky-dory, that everything's going to be fixed, because you just don't know. So when you see some of these guys that are being signed, don't just count them off and say they're a bum. They might have been a bum in that system because the coach couldn't coach. Or maybe it was the wrong kind of system. And I'll give you my own personal dealings of not being in the right system. See, I'm small. I played nose tackle in college at 225. I was fast and I was strong. But my problem is when I would get hit by a bigger offensive lineman, I couldn't hold my ground. I just didn't have enough mass to do it. But if you said, go to that spot, I'm going to get to that spot, and I'm going to go there with authority, and I can hold that spot because I'm moving. But unfortunately, the defense we were in was a read and react defense. And what that means is you get a hold of the offensive lineman, you figure out where he's going, and you fight pressure. Couldn't do that. It was hard for me. It's too small. Just not enough mass. But if you said, shoot the gap, I could shoot the gap and get the quarterback's hip pocket before the offensive lineman could get out of his stance. So if I was in a stunting defense, I could play fantastic. No problem getting there. Read and react, he's worthless. So a lot of times you get players that are in the wrong system. But when you get them in the right system, all of a sudden, boom, it's like they got it. It's like a totally different player. So it's a matter of getting the right guys in your system. So don't call a guy a bum. He was a bum in that system, but maybe that system was the problem. Give these guys a chance. Because when we signed like Jack Crawford or Terrell McCain, nobody was like, oh, man, that's a great signing. Now everybody's jumping off the bridge. Oh, my God, we're losing these guys. So give it time. Just relax. The Dallas Cowboys have a plan here. Come draft time, we're going to be going pretty much all defense. And after June 1st, when a lot of these guys are cut, you're going to see the team signing some really nice veterans on the team. I'm not worried. So just relax. Oh. I knew there was something wrong here. Jobu needs his refill. Sorry, Jobu. Got to keep spreading the mojo. As always, friends, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And we'll see you tomorrow night live streaming at 9 o'clock Eastern. Have a great night.